in the 5th chapter of the book of Ephesians. And there I'd like to begin reading in verse 28. And there I'd like to read through the 6th chapter and verse 4. When you find it, say amen. Amen. Some of y'all too quick. I think y'all just said amen because I said say amen. Ephesians, the 5th chapter, beginning at verse 28 and reading through Ephesians 6 and 4. It says, in the same way, husbands are to love their wives as their own bodies. All the men in the house say, as my own body. He who loves his wife loves himself. For no one ever hates his own flesh, but provides and cares for it, just as Christ does for the church, since we are members of his body. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. This mystery is profound, but I'm talking about Christ and the church. To sum up, each one of you is to love his wife as himself, and the wife is to respect her husband. Children, obey your parents as you would the Lord, because this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise, so that it may be well with you, and that you may live a long life in the land. Fathers, don't stir up anger in your children, but bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord. Take your neighbor by the hand and look your neighbor in the eye and say, neighbor, let's get serious about revival in the family. Come on, let's give the Lord a round of applause. That's what I want to talk about this morning. Getting serious. Getting serious. Getting serious. Getting serious. Getting serious about revival, refreshing, renewing, replenishing the family. My brothers and sisters, our world is in trouble. And I've come to understand that if the world is ever going to change, it's got to begin in the home. There's got to be revival in the family. Is there anybody here today who made that decision in your life? Don't fool me now. Don't fool me. Don't fool me. Because serving the Lord takes some intentionality. All year long we've been talking about being intentional with God and family. And when you really stop to think about what it takes to be intentional, that simply means that you are really going to get serious with what you are doing about your relationship with God. And I have to ask myself a question many, many times. What have I done? How have I missed the mark when it comes to being your pastor? And I wonder sometimes where your spirituality is, where your relationship with God really is. And I asked myself the question, Lord, what could I have done differently? Where did I miss the mark in making sure that our church members have a real relationship with the Lord? Where have I missed it when it comes down to whether our families are really loving the Lord and serving the Lord together? And I thought I had done everything within my power to make sure that you have what is needed for you to grow in the Lord. And the devil knows that the family is the first unit that God made. He made the family before he made the church. And God put the family together because he realized how important the family is. That if there's going to be true revival in the world, if there's ever going to be change in the world, if the world is ever going to be what God would have it to be, the family got to get together. The family got to make it work. But you see, our problem is, in America, we become an individualistic society. It's all about me. It's all about my needs. It's all about my wants. We just selfish people. It don't matter what others do as long as I get my piece of the pie. I'm living in a capitalistic society and everything is about the money. I'm going to do everything to make sure my kids get an education so they can grow up, get a job, and get out of my house and whatever it takes